Me come on today and share about what I do. I love having the opportunity to educate people about music therapy. Not a lot of people really understand what a music therapist is, and it's just great to have the opportunity to educate the public about it because I think it's so important and people really need to know about it. And so thank you, Vincent, for inviting me today. So ideally what I would like to do is kind of engage people during the presentation, but that's kind of hard because of it being online and stuff like that. So I'll kind of go through the presentation, and then at the end, if you guys have questions, just ask me anything. And if you need to write it down during, that might help too. So the reason why I'm doing a PowerPoint is just music therapy is such a broad field, and I could probably talk about it for hours. So I'm just trying to kind of hone in on a few main ideas about what it is, just to kind of fit it within the 15-minute time frame. So my name is Laura Billette, and I've been an accredited music therapist since 2014. And I'm also a neurological music therapist and a registered psychotherapist. So neurological music therapy is a specific field in music therapy where when you're working with people with dementia or Alzheimer's or kind of a wide variety of neurological disorders, it's a specific training you can get to use specific interventions to help with that population. I'm just gonna kind of turn it here. So I own a company called Major Progressions Music Therapy, and I started it maybe shortly after I became an accredited music therapist with my friend. You can see the other girl in the picture here is Mallory. So if I'm moving, I'm wondering if I move the slide, if that's why it wasn't coming up. All right, do you still see it?
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so I started Major Progressions Music Therapy in 2014 with my friend Mallory. Basically, the reason why we started up our company was we were working at a company in Hamilton, and we realized that music therapy was very scarce in Niagara and nobody really knew about it. So we kind of had this goal of educating people and getting into different facilities and different populations to start a music therapy program in the area. So since then, we've done a lot of work in different areas. Primarily long-term care is our main area. And yeah, so we've been in probably 15 different homes in the region in the last 6 years. And also we've worked with other facilities that work with people with brain injury and autism and different neurological disorders. So that's Major Progressions. And just to kind of go over what it takes to become a music therapist, it's a pretty rigorous university program. So I did mine actually in the States. I went to school. I didn't actually know about music therapy until my second year. I went as a psychology major, and I was in the States because at the time I was a rower and I had an athletic scholarship. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I just knew having free education was a good thing. So I went and did psychology, and it was my second year that I discovered about music therapy and decided that ever since then, I wanted to do this as a career. So I changed into music therapy, did all the coursework. And then when I graduated from school, part of becoming a music therapist is you have to do a 1,000-hour internship. So I decided I wanted to come back to Canada and do that. So I came back to my home, which is Thorold. And then I did my internship in Hamilton. And that's where I met Mallory, my business partner. And yeah, so I did that. And a lot of my work was in long-term care in my internship. And after a few years of doing that, there was a new college of psychotherapy that started up and kind of mandated music therapists to become certified in psychotherapy, because a lot of the work we do is within the realm of psychotherapy. And in order to do that, you need to have a master's degree. So I started a master's degree in counseling, and I'm just working on finishing that up. It's been a couple of years. I've been doing it part-time, but I'm almost done. So I've been working through that. And the main thing everybody asks me when I tell them I'm a music therapist is, well, what is music therapy? And I guess that's kind of the goal that I'm trying to share with you guys now. So it's a very difficult thing to define, but this is actually the definition that's given to us by the Canadian Association for Music Therapy. And the two main things that I take out of this are, music therapy has to be done by an accredited music therapist, someone who's been through all the training. And the most important part of it is the therapeutic relationship. And I think that is just a huge aspect of it, because you're working on specific goals with people, and in order to achieve those goals, kind of having a foundation of a relationship is important. So kind of continuous work over time, and building that relationship. And just here I have kind of what is a therapeutic relationship, and building trust and empathy and respect is kind of the foundation to maintain that relationship. And a lot of people often say, oh, I love music therapy, I do it with myself all the time, or listening to music is therapy for myself. And that can be true in a lot of ways. And I just kind of wanted to make the distinction between music therapy and music for wellness. So I once heard another music therapist use this definition, that she used the example of a massage therapist versus a massage chair. So when you're using music for wellness, and I do it in my own life all the time, I run with music, I use it to help me feel calm, and you can definitely use it in so many ways in your life. And I think it's so important for everybody to use music, and we can talk a little bit about that too, because I think that's an important thing for everyone to know. But the difference between that is the same as the difference between going and sitting in a massage chair, which is kind of general, and then a massage therapist actually knows how to get into the knots and has a wide understanding of the body and how to help with certain physical issues. So that's kind of how I like to compare the two. So I think I first mentioned about being a neurological music therapist. And one of the really interesting things that I love about music is the way that it can connect us with other people and kind of create a positive feeling of socialization in others. And so I think you probably would understand this phenomenon if you were at a football game or any sporting event where you hear people doing a kind of a rhythmic chant. I don't know, the common one is that one. If you've been to any hockey game or anything like that. So it's just a really interesting phenomenon that I just think is so cool. It's bonding you with the people that you're supporting in the team. So it's kind of the pride for your team if you're a Leafs fan or a Sabres fan, hopefully not. I don't know, you guys are from RotaryFortErie, so maybe. But yeah, so that is an important part of music. And this is one study here that I kind of outlined a little bit about explaining this phenomenon is this study that was done in 2011 by Kokol and his colleagues. And what he did was he had participants sit in an fMRI machine, and they would do a brain scan while the person was playing a rhythm with two different volunteers. So one person they were playing a rhythm with in the blue shirt, and they were in sync. So I wrote here not in training, and that basically means, sorry, the red shirt was in training. Entrainment basically means playing in time, playing in sync. And the person in the blue shirt wasn't in training, so they were like offbeat and everything. And later in the study, these same participants came back in the room with pencils, and both of them dropped the pencils on purpose, but they found that the person that they had just played in rhythm with in the red shirt, they would pick up a significant amount of more pencils in that with that person than the person in the blue shirt. And they kind of equated this to something in the brain called the caudate nucleus. And in the brain scans, they found that when that person was in training with the person in the red shirt, that part of the brain was lighting up, and that structure is known to be responsible for bonding and pro-social behavior and synchronicity, which is playing in time with rhythm. And if we were in a group right now, I would try to get you guys to play some instruments, and we would play in sync to try to feel this phenomenon for ourselves. But I'm sure you've probably experienced it at some point. So yeah, so that's pretty interesting.